Okay, so let's just jump straight into Bitcoin and then into Mars stock because there's a lot of fear right now with the inflation report that came out recently. Because what happened afterwards, we saw Bitcoin tank, and everyone's freaking out. Everyone's freaking out. But here's the thing, right? I've said this in many other videos too. Um, there's something really interesting about how fibs sort of like tie unexpected future data into the chart. Because if you guys remember in a ton of previous videos when there's like important data or random news events, even random news events happen all the time, and they tend to happen very coincidentally within these fib structures, and that's amazing because it's just it's super weird. But basically, I kept saying, and no matter what, it doesn't matter that the price fell today. This is actually very good because if you are, if you guys have been watching for a little bit now, you know that I kept saying, I'm kind of a little disappointed. I would have rather see Bitcoin at the time. This fib structure is a little lower because the price hasn't gone up this much yet, but the price, even with it, even after I pushed this higher, even at that time Bitcoin didn't break the point 0.5 retracement, but now it did. Right, I kept saying like, hey, it doesn't matter that my target is 128K as the next leg up, because we are in an overall uptrend. We've gotten bonus confirmation after the the support area held very nicely. Super attractive accumulation area. So hopefully a lot of you were accumulating as well. But the reason this is significant is because we've been following the price higher with this yellow retracement, and we haven't actually filled it in a bit, in a while. Last time we filled it right here, we never broke the point 0.5. Again, the fib was, I updated it for the swing high that we have right now. But now with this dip that happened, we finally see a lot of liquidity begin to actually factor into the overall structure. Because if we, this is how I view this chart. This is how I view a lot of charts to look at all the time. But if I'm looking at higher prices, I want bears to be properly setting themselves up to sustain higher prices. You can't go up like crazy without balancing yourself out, right? So in the case for Bitcoin, like, we haven't seen a proper retracement in a while, right? We, like, last time we went into this um accumulation area, we didn't even break the point 0.5 and try to reach 110K. We just went up higher, which is fine. As you can see, the price made a new all-time high very recently. But now, like, we finally had a dip into a significant retracement area, breaking the point 0.5. So, I'm going to keep this like super simple, right? What I'm looking for is bonus confirmation once again. And this can happen very easily. I mean, I believe the overall stock market, like the S&P, actually um, recovered already, if I'm correct. Um, Bitcoin hasn't. So what I'm looking for right now, just to remain realistic, is this retracement area for a move up. What this means is that, so I really don't want to move this. I want to leave that there. So we're gonna do a bigger picture retracement as like a deep value, because this yellow is not deep value. It's just a proper retracement within this bigger move. But from the last deep value swing low all the way up to current swing high, which is all time high. I'm gonna make it red. Actually, yeah, red, because this isn't actually deep value. This is just like a no brainer. I like to use purple for deep value, but this is more of a emotional swing low when you're factoring in external data influencing Bitcoin to come lower. So like this area is where I plan to add more to the BitU swing trade I've showed in recent videos. I'm still holding on to the swing trade. I am no ways shooken out from what this dip right here, because again, I kept saying like we can see some weakness form within this area and potentially come down and actually break the point 0.5 before we can go up higher. And we finally have that. And we also had a ascending support line down here that hasn't even been like we kept trending higher without even getting close to it. So with that being said, and I'm gonna delete this one because there's too much going on in the chart. But like we're at a reasonable support. Like this was probable. Unfortunately, external data caused Bitcoin to come down. But if it didn't, this structure wouldn't be healthy in my opinion. We haven't seen the structure actually correct itself properly, and now we have. So this red area, I would like to add more to the BitU swing trade if we come into this red area. So support's holding very, very nicely. Like we broke below the 0.5. So we can easily, oh, wait a minute. What am I doing? Wrong tool, wrong tool. What did I just do? Did I draw something by accident? Okay. So we can either come up into short-term resistance, which is a simple retracement before we come down one more overall low, and then from there higher. This will be an opportunity for myself because this is just what I'm doing. Everything I say in this video is just my own personal opinion. So this will be an opportunity for me to accumulate more to the BitU swing trade and make it from a 75K invested swing trade to like maybe 85 to maybe 90K I'll put into it or something like that. But this will be my accumulation opportunity. If we don't come down into this area, I will let the price just hold on to support and go up higher, and then I will begin to sell the position once we're at and break 128K. That's it. Like this isn't bearish. This is a proper correction regardless of what the macro media says. Like this is just a proper correction. We can see a one more low being created, which will be fine as well. It can briefly go into the red, but we have strong support at 14.5. But this is going to flush out a lot of that like unstable liquidity as well. So this is really, really good. And we finally broke below the 120 moving average so that the bears pick up steam once again. And then all of these swing lows that were created right here never bottomed out the RSI. So this is incredibly healthy in my opinion. So let's jump into MAR right now. So I would like to add more down here, but there's a good chance support's going to hold. So uh, we're just looking at short-term resistance, keeping an eye on that, and then what Bitcoin does from there. But regardless, the overall view is at 128K. My target, regardless if we go there now or we have that one more low, I'll be able to accumulate more before we go up. So we'll see what happens, right? I'm not upset that the Bitcoin fell today because I feel like it really needed it. It really needed that little bit of a reset. So now with Mara stock, we're starting to see volume pick up. Like we saw micro supports being broken, quick recovery, trying to get close to that 120 moving average. Nothing has changed. My opinion is still the same. It's still the same until I'm proven wrong. What I mean by proven wrong is we break this swing low right here. This swing low at basically 1350 is an SL. Um, that's what I'm proving wrong because if we break 1350, it's very, very likely that we can start flirting with $10 and possibly even below $10 at that point. But until that happens, I am keeping an eye on, and we are below the ascending support. But regardless, we're still holding within the overall support zone because ascending support lines are like you're like forcing a specific price level or a specific like area where it has to pop, while a fib retracement factors in enough space for volume to begin the potential shift to correct it back up into the direction it's at or the direction it's focused on, which is this uptrend right now. So this gives it that room, excuse me, and it gives the RSI enough space to actually give us something to look at. Right now, the RSI is not super important. Right now, the idea is that we're just paying attention to what's going on with this. Like you guys gotta remember too how much value, in my opinion, there's so much value in Mara stock right now because even with this terrible like inflation data, it dipped, and it could have easily dipped way more, right? But it didn't. Like, this is a stock that's very, very influenced by easily influenced by macro uh, anything, and it didn't dip a whole lot aggressively. I don't care what anyone thinks. Like, there's a lot of value right here. I'm not saying it can go lower, because of course you still have that SO to keep an eye on. But the idea is that just like back here, the idea is that we're taking advantage of background optimism towards a potential rate cut, towards Bitcoin going up, and that influences the reports that Mara publicates on a monthly and their quarterly reports as well. So the idea is to take advantage of early um, value opportunities before a lot of this investor expectation begins to factor into the price, depending on what they think their earnings are going to look like and all that stuff. So there's a big delay time gap, but this is um this is the reason why I like these overall fib retracements right now, because this is an opportunity to accumulate. Like, if you guys remember back here, back here, no one was believing in the stock. Like, everyone was like bashing on this stock, bashing on it, um, throwing out a bunch of numbers, and like everyone was just bashing on it. And then, well, for those that accumulated within the accumulation zone, I'm not saying it has to happen again. This can easily just dip, but everything looks very similar enough to understand that the fundamentals when it comes to short-term value are the same, regardless of macro headlines. But the idea is that we're accumulating a short-term discount before investors pump the price up to try to factor in ahead of time any macro, any change in the macro environment, but specifically any value that can be expected to change within Mara's future reports. It's as simple as that. That's really how I see this fib retracement, big picture fib retracement. How do you say what it factors in? So until I'm proven wrong, which is the SL, the idea is that we're doing something very similar to here to here. We're using an overall retracement to accumulate. Focus on your own position sizing. I don't know. I'm just sharing with you guys how I view the charts. It's up to you, 100%. What you do with this information. It's not on me. This is just what I think. So it's very similar. The idea is that we are still in an uptrend. If we break this SL right here, if the SL, if we hit it, it gets triggered. We break below the swing low, then the uptrend is ruined. Just because we're below this ascending support doesn't mean anything. Trends change once we have a break of structure. This is the point right here, where the break of structure happens. Until that happens, the idea is that we're looking for higher prices. Now, like, you can be super conservative and say like, oh well, we can go up into short-term retracement, resistance, and then revisit the red and fluctuate back and forth for a while before we go up higher. We've seen this happen in 2024, and if you guys been watching 2024, like, I think it was around earlier than this point in the year, but we were trading in a very similar gap where Bitcoin or Mara came down. There was like this mix between value and macro fear, and then we kept bouncing back and forth, and we created this sideways channel between accumulation and resistance, and we kept. I think it was like two or I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was close to 6 months of sideways consolidation, and it created the most easiest to take advantage of opportunity. I'm not saying that's gonna happen now, but I'm saying we can fluctuate back and forth. But then once we have a breakout representing short-term value being discount, the idea is that we're looking over $20 once again for a little bit. I wouldn't be greedy and I don't think the price is going to max out this area, and I explained that in previous videos, and I'll explain it again in a future video later this week. But I don't believe it's a good idea to expect it to max out this area this time around. Like the last time we hit a take profit area and maxed it out very well. It's a little bit different this time. Um, like once we break over 20, it'll be a good idea, in my opinion, to focus on the size of your position and maybe just lock in those profits. Uh, but the idea is that we're gonna go into the blue unless we hit the SL, but we can fluctuate for a little bit. We have strong resistance right here with a value gap, and then, well, you know, I'm just repeating myself, guys. Accumulation, take profit, SL. Until then, we'll see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.